Don't ask. Over the weekend, President Osama...
It happens to everybody. It happens to everybody.
It's because I'm hysterical from something totally different. Over the weekend, President Obama met with Venezuelan leader Hugo Chavez, saying reaching out to enemies of the U.S. strengthens our hands and makes sure we're not a leader, but also a lecturer of democracy.
That we are a leader and not a lecturer. Yeah.
And not a lecturer of democracy.
Right.
Well, there's been discussion about when Chavez came over to him and gave him a book and did a handshake, and he shook his hand, and people are saying, aha, you know, here is a man who's been our enemy, who's denounced capitalism, who's denounced the United States. As you, well, maybe you don't know, 2 years ago I did an interview with Chavez. It may be the only or one of the few. There we are. There we are. Okay. I just realized I wore that dress 2 days ago. That dress is so...
And he wore that suit 2 years ago.
But Chavez can be very charming.
Yeah.
But as Obama then said, because he was, you know, picked on, you know, that it's your actions and not your words. And I'm reminded of this all the more today when I'm reading about a conference on racism, a UN racism conference to bring people together. And at it, Ahmadinejad said that Israel was created, I'm quoting, on the pretext of Jewish suffering from World War II, and some of the diplomats walked out. Right. So I go back to, yes, you're trying to open the door. Yes, I guess it's okay to take a book, and yes, it's okay to try to make a difference. I, for one, hope they do make a difference in the relationship with Cuba. But as Obama said, it is your actions and not just your words.
Well, people have to also remember that Venezuela is the third oil producer for the United States, so that there is some political thing that's going on also to keep the oil coming into this country.
But there's also, I think we have to, you know, I think those say...
Chavez needs this country too for his oil.
There's a direct relationship, I think, there, but and it is mutual in some ways. However, I think the question is, do we have unconditional love for those who seem to be so
unconditional love.
I'm just saying look, we're talking about some of the most anti-American leaders out there in the world. This is not something to just, like, brush off. I think, like, Newt Gingrich, for example, was extremely vocal about President Obama's visit and that handshake. You say, well, it's, you know, it's a handshake, it's a gesture. These things do have power. You take even the book that he received as a gift. That was $54,000 on Amazon. As soon as that book was given, it jumped to #2 on Amazon.com.
You know what?
These things have an effect. This is a wait-and-see situation.
Did he explain what the book was about? Because it's very important.
Sure, it was about the fundamentals.
No, it was about the way that the U.S. And other countries have bled...
Yes.
The Latin American countries. That's the book he gave. But here's an interesting...
Of why those relationships are the way they are.
Well, yeah. But here's an interesting thing. 50 years ago, maybe a little longer, Germany was our enemy. Japan was our enemy. Vietnam, 40 years ago, 30 years ago, was our enemy. At some point, we find, and I say we as a nation, we find ways to better a relationship with someone who maybe doesn't understand this or we didn't understand. I think you can never totally shut the door on any country. We've done that. We did that for 8 years, and it didn't help us.
Cold War.
I wanted to know also, too.
No, it didn't help. We did it to the world.
Every other president, it seemed
this doesn't mean that he's accepted what Chavez believes in or does.
What happened to the Godfather who said, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? So, you know, there is something to that.
It's a wait-and-see situation.
But then also, too, we've done the same thing over the years with each president, and you did say that on tweet. With each president, we've done the same thing. So it looks like, you know, if you want some type of different outcome, should you not try something different? You want to lose weight, don't keep eating a hamburger.
Right. I agree. I think, look, this is a time maybe to do it. Some are saying this is not the thing he should be doing early on in the presidency. I actually think it is the time, because then you can wait and see. You see what happens. You see if there's a reaction like, okay, I will sit and talk with Ahmadinejad, and then he goes and makes a statement like this.
Newt Gingrich was complaining. He was very vocal, and I remember Newt Gingrich was saying that, you know, this was a slap in the face to Latin people. And I saw a lot of Latin people who were rejoicing with the fact that he had extended an olive branch.
Yes,
so I don't know Newt Gingrich speaking for Latin people.
I think the biggest thing to watch at the moment.
The
biggest thing to watch at the moment is the relationship with Cuba, which is this far away from us. If we can accept, as you say, Vietnam, which has a communist government, if we can be friends with China, I mean, let us see. That's the place where you can see some opening and some change. And it's going to be very tricky for Obama because there are going to be a lot of people who will disagree. And one of the reasons is political, with the Cubans living in Florida when you want that state in the next election. But that is the place to look to see if opening the door a little bit makes a difference there in human rights.
That's right. Fidel,
we got to see.
Tear down that wall. We'll be right back.